Here I come.
Oh.
Here I come.
Oh.
So apparently, Ted Lasso and his band of quirky football fanatics have joined the Tarantino-verse. Yes, you fucking heard me correctly. Looks like the fictional AFC Richmond Greyhounds have become the official football club of the Tarantino-verse. This means if Jackie Brown decides to ditch Spain for England, we could see her in the stands showing her support for the team. Or maybe even Jules, who on his kung fu-like travels has found his way across the pond to the UK and could stop in to give the team a pep talk. In other Tarantino-verse news, 7 months after wrapping principal photography and 3 months before it debuts, Pitt and Fincher are headed for reshoots, as David isn't satisfied with how the film has turned out. A number of days have been locked off this month for additional photography, requiring the need to rebuild some large sets. It's beginning to look a lot like we're not getting this film for Christmas. Welcome to Talking Tarantino. Welcome everyone to another episode of Talking Tarantino. I'm your host, the Reverend Scott K, and it is my pleasure to welcome to the show one of the hosts from the Middle Class Film Class podcast, a show that supplies you with current movie news and reviews. Joining us all the way from the Golden State, it's Mr. Pete Abeyta. Welcome, Mr. Abeyta.
What's up, buddy? How you doing? Welcome. I'm happy to be back. Feels good.
It is good to have you. You are the car guy, our official Church of Tarantino car guy. So
That's right.
you know, take that, run with it. Everyone now knows you as the car guy.
I'm okay with that. I've been known as many things in life. The turtle guy.
It's a turtle guy. Okay.
Yeah, I've had kept tortoises and turtles my whole life. So
okay.
So I've always had one or two animals with shells. So I get messages all the time. Hey, I found this turtle. What should I do with it? So I give people turtle advice and now car advice because I've been in the automotive repair industry for about 24 years.
Well, that is awesome. You also now, you're a podcaster. You've been on the church before, and now you have an official title here. And I would like to thank you because you're taking time out of your day so that we can talk some Tarantino. And I'm going to kick off these proceedings with the latest Tarantino news. First up, the 4th season of Apple TV's Ted Lasso debuted this week. And much to the surprise of Tarantino and Ted Lasso fans alike, the show opened with Ted scanning packs of Red Apple cigarettes at his Kansas City grocery store that he's the assistant manager of. A ballsy move by the show's creators to try and shoehorn their universe into that of the Tarantino-verse. However, this isn't the first instance of Tarantino's signature fake brand of cigarettes appearing outside of the cinematic universe. They have also appeared in Planet Terror and Romy and Michelle's high school reunion. There's been no comment from Tarantino or his people as to why or if he allowed the folks at Ted Lasso to use his artificial brand of smokes. But considering how prevalent they are in that opening scene, I can only assume that they got his sign of approval before using them. Mr. Abeyta, do you have a problem with non-affiliated shows or movies using other people's fictional brands?
I feel like there at least should be some sort of courtesy nod or just a quick text or a message out to Quentin to say, "Hey, bro, I love your stuff. By the way, I'm throwing some red apples in my new show or whatever, the new season or whatever." Because part of it is like I feel like it's a respect thing to actually have it in there, but it's also a bigger respect thing to stop and say, "By the way, you be cool with this?" I don't think that Quentin would say. He's not a person who I think is too sacred with that sort of stuff. I mean, he's heavy homage for a lot of his works to classic works. So I don't think that he would be like, no, you can't do that. That's my thing. He's very comfortable with that. But the respect from the filmmaker of the TV show, I think that it's funny you say that because I didn't even I love Romy and Michelle's high school reunion, and I didn't realize that. Is that what Janine Garofalo smokes?
No, I believe, yeah, I think it was. And the reason is at the time he was dating Mira Sorvino. So that is why that actually made its appearance.
Okay.
And if you hadn't seen it, and again, folks, when you are actually watching us, we're recording the beginning of August. So it just came out recently. So by the time you guys are watching this on YouTube, it will have been 3 weeks. So if you go back to the very opening scene, now they're actual packets of his cigarettes. So it's as if they went to the art department, at least in his camp, to get this, or someone knew enough and created. So I have a feeling that maybe by the time this actually does debut, maybe people have spoken out about it, but It would be
Sure.
very surprising if they just decided, fuck it, we're going to put these in and see if anyone says anything.
Yeah, it really is. And from a legal standpoint, that's one thing, but more of a industry respect sort of thing, that's another. Because I'm sure that I doubt he's copyrighted Red Apple cigarettes.
Well, you never know, but you might be right.
It's possible.
You might be right, yep.
But I mean, if they were, then it's for sure been ran through the proper channels, because Apple TV does Ted Lasso, right?
Apple TV does Ted Lasso, yeah. So
yeah, they're not dumb.
Yeah.
They're not going to do something like that.
Well, you would hope that they would not do something dumb like that. Like I said,
Sure.
It's so prevalent. It's very hard to see that this wasn't somehow, sanctioned. Well, in other news, it turns out that after 7 months of editing, David Fincher isn't happy with how The Adventures of Cliff Booth has turned out and wanted to do some significant reshoots. But he was rebuked by the folks at Netflix due to the major expense that it would have cost. However, the streaming service did agree to a few days of reshoots that will get underway this month, which will require the production team to rebuild some of the film's larger sets. To add to this clusterfuck, the film's DP, Eric Messerschmidt, will not be available as he is off filming Matt Reeves' The Batman Part 2. So longtime Fincher collaborator Jeff Cronenweth, who DP'd Fight Club, The Social Network, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and Gone Girl for Mr. Fincher, will take over the cinematography duties for the reshoots. Now, with less than 4 months until this film is set to debut, there is a growing sentiment that the release date could be pushed to early 2027. Mr. Abeyta, reshoots are common on a number of films, and it doesn't always mean that the film itself is in jeopardy of being good. However, with Fincher being such a perfectionist, what do you think the likelihood is that this film gets pushed to next year?
It depends on the scale of the reshoots, but it seems fairly likely that it's something that will move off. I mean, if it's in worthy of a news announcement coming, because people do pickup shots all the time and ADR and all. I mean, if this is not one of those things, if this is actual reshoots for restructuring story and plot and whatnot, I mean, we're in August already.
Yeah.
It takes a long time for post for things like that. So I don't know. I'm not holding out a whole lot of hope, and I mean, I'll watch it when it comes to me. I'm not counting down the days, but I think it's a really interesting. The fact that it's a Tarantino story in a universe done by Fincher is the most interesting thing to me. I could have gone my whole life without seeing it, but then again, I really wanted to see more of Cliff Booth when Once Upon a Time came out. So I mean, I'll see it. Probably going to be sometime in 2027, though, for sure.
Now, should we be worried at all that this film might not meet expectations and be a flop? Or do you think the sentiment is overblown, considering obviously Mr. Fincher is such a perfectionist? It's well documented. He takes 99 to 100 takes. He's in the Kubrick level of wanting to get the perfect shot. Now, it could just be he's not happy, but should we be worried, or do you think it's more hyperbole on his side due to his perfectionism?
Yeah, I'm not concerned at all about it. I play a lot of video games, and there's a big thing in the video game world where people will clamor for a game to come out, and they'll say, "Oh, they pushed it back. We want the game. But rarely does it happen that they rush a game to final release that it's good. It usually, if it gets pushed back further and further, it comes off as more of a finished product and a better piece of art overall. I'm talking about like a lot of story-based games.
Also, Grand Theft Auto 6, well known to be pushed back.
Exactly, that's a huge one. But and then Cyberpunk got pushed back a bunch, and then there was a lot of clamoring for it to be released sooner than what the studio wanted, and it came out and it was super buggy. It was only 6 months later to 9 months later that it was actually a playable game, to most casual players. And it's I don't care if he wants to take more time. I believe in Fincher. He's the man. He's made so many movies that are irrefutably great that I'll trust his vision. I would hate to work on set with doing 100 takes per shot. I've worked on a lot of sets for small movies and short films and things like that, and it's 4 or 5 takes. You're okay, let's move on to the next one. 100 takes?
Yeah.
I'm pulling my hair out. That's insane. That's insane.
That's how I got like this.
Yeah.
All right, well, we have reached the point in our show where I step aside, hand the reins over to my guest, and see where today's Tarantino discussion takes us. All right, Mr. Abeyta, what Tarantino-themed rabbit hole are we diving into this week?
So the Tarantino universe, full of colorful characters, some very likable, some not so much. For the most part, all very interesting. And the characters that are not interesting are interesting because they're not interesting. They're juxtaposed to these over-the-top type of people. My thought was, what would I do with these colorful cast of characters stuck in a coast-to-coast road trip from California to New York or Maine? Take your pick wherever you want to go. That's what, 4 or 5 days of driving?
Yeah, 4 or 5 days drive. Yeah, absolutely.
And who would be the person that you would most want to be trapped in a car with for 5 days on a road trip? And who's the people who you would absolutely despise? You see the days on the calendar ticking down to that time you have to take the road trip with, and you're just dreading it the entire time because you know you're going to be locked in that car for. And for many of these people, maybe it's going to take more than a week because of aspects of their character that Tarantino's introduced into his movies. So,
and you might not make the trip. You might have finished the trip. You might not get to your destination.
That's true. And the discussion for me is as wide open as you want it to be. The one thing I will concede is that there's a few period piece movies. There's Hateful Eight. There's Inglourious Bastards. So Django. I'm going to assume that these people have been in a car before.
Fair.
So that takes a big chunk of the. Well, I'd love to go in it with Django because he's going to be marveling at this horseless carriage the entire time or whatever. Yeah, and we take that discussion.
What is
point
this
out
sorcery?
Yeah, exactly. So I want to remove that from the discussion and really more think of it in terms of like what the day-to-day life looks like on a road trip. Is that person going to be good company? Is that person going to be pain in the ass? What do rest stops look like? Are we going on detours? That sort of stuff. I have a list of my top 3 and my bottom 3. I'm really curious to see where yours are.
All right. What would you like to start with first? You want to start with the worst or the best?
Let's do best first.
Best first. Okay. Good. 1 to 3 or 3 up? 3 up?
3 to 1.
3 to 1. All right.
Third place to first place. So
for my number 3, I chose, believe it or not, Jules Winfield.
Okay.
Now this is post I've seen the error of my ways, Jules Winfield. Not I love to say Ezekiel 25:17, Jules Winfield, because it could be problems. A couple of the reasons I chose him. You're gonna have great discussions with him. He's a great conversationalist, which is important if you're doing a 5-day journey. He tells great stories. Like he's just a great storyteller. So that'll help, especially when there's the lull in, sometimes you just get tired of listening to music. He's got great taste in food. He at least likes burgers. He's going to be a kind of guy who we can stop at a diner or fast food on the way, and he's going to be okay. It's not going to be someone who's like persnickety, got to get off the highway too far, got to find some kind of sit-down restaurant. It's going to be a kind of guy who can travel lightly and enjoy the stops along the way. He can also diffuse a conflict or end it, and that it could be important depending on where you find yourself stopping along your journey. All right, so having someone who you can count on, but isn't going to cause this shit. That's important, I think, right? Like, you don't need some guy who's just going to be, he's like a match head just being waiting to be lit, and any minute you're going to have a fucking problem. So he's that kind of guy, so I like that. And he's probably got an amazing playlist, which is, as we talked about briefly, very necessary for a long road trip. So I think Jules combines all those necessary elements to be a cool guy to talk to. He's going to have great music. You're going to have great stories. And if God forbid something did have to happen, he's the kind of guy you want on your side that can either say, hey, man, we don't need all this shit, or tell that bitch to chill out. Shut the fuck out.
Yeah.
So Jules is my 3.
Jules is my number 2. So I'm going to move him down to my number 3 just so I can talk about him too. So Jules, echo a lot of your sentiment. He's a cool motherfucker. I would feel very cool driving in a car. And we could take turns too. He's a driver. He could absolutely drive. I feel like we could talk about, classic Cadillacs and interesting cars. We could talk about, he quotes Ezekiel, but that's a fake verse. I would feel like there's a lot to unpack there in the religious realm too, because my father was, my parents met at a Bible college, and my dad was a youth pastor when I was born. So I was raised in a pretty strong religious household. One of the most interesting things in humankind is our affinity for religion and our desire to think that there's something up beyond the afterlife. And he clearly does. He thinks that there's purpose in life, that there's meaning behind things. He's like, I need you to acknowledge this is a fucking miracle. There's something there with him that is more than just like, oh, I quote this verse because it's cool and it scares people. So
exactly.
I feel like we could spend a lot of time there in that conversation. Storytelling is one of my favorite things. I love telling stories, even if it's something I've told 100 times before. Changes a little bit each time. You find new beats in it. You find new, sweet spots or whatever. And I feel like he's got probably 10 of those in his back pocket. He could just spin a yarn on. So yeah, Jules is a great pick.
Number 2 for me is Jungle Julia. I have been enamored with Jungle Julia since I first saw her long legs walk on screen. But she's outgoing, and we clearly know she knows how to have a good time. And I know she's bitchy to her friends, but just the way she is so enamored with that director who's supposed to show up, there's a softer side to her that she doesn't show her friends. So I know I wouldn't get the same Julia that the girls got as friends. Now, she's also a DJ. So we already know another person who's going to have unbelievable playlists and may even introduce me to music I hadn't heard, much like Tarantino has done throughout my career of watching him. She's very confident and could probably get us into places I myself could not get us into. Her looks alone, but also her charisma. If they're like, oh, we don't have a table, suddenly there's a fucking table, Now, she's attractive and very sexually confident. So if there is mutual chemistry... listen, I'm just saying our stops on the fucking way we're going to have to sleep. It could be some fun times. And also, I feel like she's also a very free-spirited person. So there's a chance that we, like you said, we might not get there in 5 days. It may take us a week and a half because she may know of places along the trip that we should get off here, this beaten path, and go check out these things. So she could be a very adventurous, fun person, would be kind of looking into even trying new foods along the way. So I see that Jungle Julia would be an excellent companion, and but I would have to tell her you have to keep your leg inside the window. We just gotta be. Let's protect the goods. Let's not lose a leg on the highway.
Scott, where do you come down on feet on the dash or feet outside the car?
So here's the thing. For me, it's not a lot of people's like, don't put your dirty feet on my glass. For me, nowadays, everything has an airbag. It's like, are you trying to lose the lower part of your body? Like God forbid you get in a crash and the airbag deploys. The legs are snapped, your back's like you're just fucked. So it's more of a terrifying. I'd rather you turn and put your legs across me and at least somewhat safety as opposed to. And because if you look at Jungle Julia, she's very tall. She's almost an Amazonian type of height. So those long legs, I mean, you don't need them smashed. You know what I mean? Like so
folded up over.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's more of a concern of safety than I can clean off the glass, and that's not a problem, But at the same time,
you can wipe down the dash, wipe down the glove box.
Exactly.
That's fine.
If she needs to stretch out, she can lay in the back. Like honestly, if you need to stretch out, you can lay down on the back. If you need to get the legs stretched, I just don't need you losing them for some reason. Not only that, I'm trying not to get distracted, right? I want to try to keep my eyes on the road.
All right, so my number 2, I'm gonna go with maybe an unconventional pick. This is Bud from Kill Bill, and I'll tell you why. Bud is a bare bones type of fella. He lives in a trailer in the middle of the desert. He works at a titty bar. He's lived a life where he's not very comfortable. I feel like he spends many nights, and he's the type of guy we're going to grin and bear it through the entire time. We could probably make a cannonball run and get there in like 2.5 days. Take turns sleeping and cutting time off. Really not a whole lot of stops. But when we do stop, I would imagine Bud would say, hey, we're going to come over to this titty bar over here that's one of my friends runs, and probably be exposed to some things that I've never would have otherwise, some unseemly types. And lest we forget, that was his life after the Viper Assassin Squad has been disbanded. So he's got the entire life living up to that, where he probably knows a bunch of people along the way that are. I would imagine he would stop at only the places that he know we're going to get a warm welcome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's probably traveled across the country and knows, and he may even know routes that are better to go through. It avoids trouble. Yeah.
But I feel like the Spartan nature of the way he lives, anyways, makes him a good companion because he could probably piss in a jug and throw it out the window so we cannot stop. He's not opposed to that. I'm not either. If I'm in good company, I'm not going to do that if I have the fair sex in the car with us. But it's like, if we're on a mission and we're trying to get A to B in the fastest time possible, I feel like Bud could be the guy.
Yeah.
Also, that I feel like we're not going to have a whole lot of annoying chit chat.
Oh yeah. It's pointless talk. Yeah.
Put on some good solid music, pedal to the metal, get there as fast as we possibly can. I think it would be an interesting drive. I want someone with a little bit more to say, but he would be a very specific experience, and it would be purpose built. You know what I mean?
Now, I wonder if this will be both our number ones. But speaking of handling themselves, my number one guy that I would ride with, and maybe it's because you get to see him drive so much in the fucking movie, it's Cliff Booth. I mean, Cliff Booth can drive a Carmina. He can drive a Cadillac. He can drive anything. He's a stunt guy. So this guy can fucking drive. He'll drive it till the wheels come off, and even then, find a way to make the fucking axles work. He's a guy you can rely on that if something were to break, he has probably a quick fix for it. So he's a man, a jack of all trades. He's comfortable also with silence. He would be the kind of guy who could just sit there. And maybe if you're the kind of person who likes to talk, he'd just sit there and listen to you talk. He's very laid back, which I like. Mm-hmm. But he probably has a lot of also great Hollywood stories that he could tell you, or even his war stories. Like, I mean, if anyone's read the book and watched the movie, there's a lot that Mr. Booth has been through. So he's got 5 days worth of stories if you need to hear them. Now, we know he can handle himself. I mean, of all the people we talked about, like, Jules and Bud also can handle himself. But Cliff's the genuine article. Cliff will fuck things up. And I don't even know. I mean, Brandy can come along too. Like, I'll be honest with you. Brandy could be an extra because now I'm talking. Like I said, what's our trip for? Pleasure or business? If it's business, sure. I'm bringing Brandy because we may need Brandy along the way. He probably knows, having the fact that he's probably traveled a bit across the country as we learn about him. He probably knows some cool bars, some hidden places. I mean, and if you decide to you find a town that's got a good nightlife, he's the ultimate wingman
for sure.
I mean, he's gonna get the 10, but you might get the 8 or 7 friend, right? Like there is no one better. I mean, if you walk in anywhere with Brad Pitt, you got a shot. Like you at least got the person may cozy up to you and spend the night with you just for a chance to maybe get with him. So listen, I'm all okay with getting Mr. Booth scraps. All right, so he's everything you want. He's a great friend. We already know he's a good friend. We see that. We see he's willing to go to any lengths for his friends. And if he's your friend, I would go to hell and back with Cliff Booth.
I love it. I feel like if I had a previous relationship with Cliff going into this road trip, he'd probably be higher on my list. I considered him for the top 3. My concerns would be 1, he's a very quiet man on his own. I don't think I would be able to pull as many stories out of him had it not been already a pal. So if we pre-establish that we're all buddies with who we're hopping in the car with, perhaps. But yeah, all those points are valid. And I think that my only concern would be we'd be fighting over who gets be behind the wheel because I like to drive. And so
that's fair. Very fair. Very fair.
For us, at least. But yeah, good pick.
However, though, by day 3 or 4, you're like, no, you drive. You know what I mean? No, you drive. My ass hurts.
My number 1, Bill, the title character from Kill Bill.
Shit.
I feel like is one of the most interesting people in all of the Tarantino universe. He's got more stories than anybody, and I feel like he's one who's apt to tell them. And not just tell them in a way that here's how the story happened. Here's the wisdom behind this experience that I lived, and should you choose to take this wisdom or this advice or whatever to make you a better person. I really like the way he tells the stories when he's sitting by the fire with the flute.
Mm-hmm. Making the sandwich,
talking about what's the fish's name? Is it Fernando? He's like, just visualize that. Fernando flapping and then not flapping. And it's like, he's a very interesting way of telling things, which makes the stories more colorful. Also, another type of guy that we would probably spend more time on the road than we should. We'd be a lot more pit stops, probably finding some peyote in the desert to go do, smoke psychedelic cactus together. I think he probably knows a lot of people along the way that he would want to stop along the way, and I would meet some more interesting people. But the dude is ready to kill at a moment's notice.
Yes, he
probably
is.
strapped up the entire time.
Yep. Or he's bringing the sword with him.
Yeah, exactly. Could be. And it's like he's again another, just like having Jules in the passenger seat, just having Bill in the passenger seat with you. Whether or not he's a stone cold killer and he's the villain of the story, or however you want to look at it, you would feel like this is the fucking coolest thing I've ever done. I've had this really interesting, unique guy in that passenger seat who's just, I have 5 days of unbridled time to really pick apart his psyche and try to get as much of the good rubbed off from it and leave the bad. Because there's plenty of that too.
Very fair. Good picks. Good picks. Brings us to the worst motherfuckers we could possibly be trapped in the car with.
There's some fun. I think there's some fun really in this part.
There's a lot. I mean, I think there's more that you wouldn't want to go with than you do. So this could be open-ended. I hope we have 3 that we neither of us pick, but there's a chance we cross over. I feel like 1 is a definite crossover, but it might not.
Me too. I guarantee you don't have my number 2 and my number 1. So if we're going to cross over, it's going to be our number 3. So
it could be. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, why don't you break us off?
All right, number 3, I've got Elle Driver. She's a fucking assassin for number one. She's ruthless. She's ambitious. She's manipulative and extremely vindictive. So she has zero problem betraying people. That makes it hard to trust somebody when you're
really.
riding with them. Now, she might even try to manipulate you sexually if she thought she'd get something out of you. You know, like if she could twist it on you. And you see that in many films and just regular day life. Women using their goods and their wares to fuck a man's head up, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, he's fucking playing to her flute. If you are traveling with her and because you're attracted to her, that's probably the exact kind of vulnerability that she would want and know how to exploit. So you couldn't sleep around her. You'd have to stay with one eye open. And let's be honest, I don't care how tough a guy you think you might be. She's been trained by Pai Mei. She's got, she's just a bad motherfucker, and you don't
try to kill me.
No, yeah. I mean, should she? I mean, she snuck a snake into a guy's bag, so she's a duplicitous bitch, and so you cannot trust her. You will die. You will not make it across. The minute you are no longer useful, which could be when you finish the drive, you're done. I am good. Thank you very much. Have yourselves a great day. I am not going anywhere with Elle Driver. I'll just kill myself first off. I'll just shoot myself.
Also, talk about a blind spot.
Yeah.
Changing lanes into semi-trucks. Yeah.
I mean, she does have a cool car. I do like the screaming chicken, but yeah, I would have to kill her first and just take the car, which I would have to really get the drop on her. Like it's a harder task than you think.
Anyways, yeah, great pick. I didn't think about Elle, but yeah, that's a terrifying. Okay, my number 3. One of the skeeziest, disgustingest, I just hate the guy character in all of Tarantino is Calvin Candy.
Ooh,
hate him.
Yeah.
Hate him.
And he's not driving.
No,
he's not driving because you're
stuck.
Candy.
You're stuck in the driver's seat. He's bossing you around like he bosses everybody else around. He's throwing the N-bomb out at any person that passes. That's shit.
And he's dumb as a bag of shit, so he says some stuff. You're like, what?
That's the part that really irritates me is like when he doubles down on like the phrenology where he's measuring the skull and stuff, and he's talking about how, this is science. He's just irrefutable and stuff. The things that are going to come out of his mouth that are going to be mind maddening, that he digs his heels in even like continually on, it would make that road trip just completely insufferable. Like I guarantee he's going to have shitty music taste. I guarantee every story he has ends with like someone dying, of a person of color dying.
Yeah.
It's just, there's not one redeeming quality that I can think about. And I imagine his hygiene also is terrible because when he smiles and he zooms in on those teeth. Oh,
the only good thing about him is he will do very few pit stops. You just got to give him a big bag of candy. You just keep going. He'll be fine.
That's a good point. I do like candy.
And he'll be pretending to be French the whole fucking time as well.
Oh, yeah. I completely forgot about that little detail. That's so funny. Yeah. So, yeah, Calvin Candy, no. Get him out of here.
Well, number 2 for me is Stuntman Mike. I mean, he's a fucking serial killer. Now, listen, he does kill women, so I guess I am a little okay. But thing is much like Elle, he also is very manipulative, but in a different way. Like, he uses his friendliness, his charisma to kind of get you to drop your guard. So you never know if he's really, like, actually interested in your company, or is he trying to size you up? What's he trying to do? And since he's manipulative, if you happen to be traveling with any female friends or meet them along the way, you'd have to keep a fucking eye on him 24/7. Like, I feel like you would be implicit in some kind of murder. Now, like you said, with the car, where are you fucking sitting? I am not going across because you're not driving. His car. He's not letting you drive. It's not happening. And you're sitting in the camera seat, and there's no backseat because it's been ripped out. So no. There's so many red flags. Just when the car pulls up, so you'd be enamored, like, look how cool that car is. And then you go, wait a minute, I got to get into this thing? You're like, no, you know what? I'm good. I'm going to take the Greyhound. I think I'll take the 12-day trip around the United States on a Greyhound and then get into a vehicle with Stuntman Mike. He's just a predator always on the prowl, and you just never know what's going to cross his path that suddenly he's now got to go after. So, no thank you, Stuntman Mike. Fuck off.
All right, good pick. Okay, my number 2. Maybe a goofy pick, but I'm thinking more about the logistics of traveling cross country with the Gimp.
Nope.
He
might just ride in the trunk.
He's got to be. Well, I'm assuming he's going to be in the
yourself.
trunk most of the time. But what kind of upkeep does it carrying a like a 6 foot tall man in a latex suit? You know, you got to pull him out. You got to wash him.
Ooh,
it's like having
the
a
smell
dog.
has got to be.
The smell.
Oh.
Imagine trying to check into a motel and they're like, "You want help with your bags?" Like, kind of.
I got a guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I got a guy.
Yeah, and then you unlock it and he takes your bags in. They're like, "Holy fuck!"
Yeah.
Or he rides in the passenger seat and he's in that costume the whole time, and everybody who passes you is looking at you. You probably get pulled over more times than like anybody.
Yeah, I mean, you're basically driving alone because if we go with him, he's going to be in the trunk the whole time. That's just the way he lives. So now you got to open the trunk to feed him, like are you throwing in Cheeto, like you know what I mean? Like are you feeding him like a bird?
Like I really don't want that responsibility. I don't have kids. There's a part of my life that I feel like I'm not responsible enough to take care of another human. And having that gimp, I don't know. I don't know if you'd make it. It's like I'm having a hard enough time keeping a goldfish alive, you know? Nonetheless, it's a full grown man in the trunk in a latex suit.
Now, does he have to sleep in the trunk too? Like is that like his, you know, because he's been trained this way. Does he have to get out? You go into a room, you bring in this big trunk, he's got to get in it?
I saw Pulp Fiction at a really young age, and the gimp was something that was like, is this normal? Like, is this a part of? And I'm like, even now as an adult, I'm like, I still don't fully understand the gimp, and that's part of it.
Probably good though, right? Like you probably something you don't need to understand.
Yeah, I've seen quite a bit of movies about, you know, sadomasochism and bondage and all this kind of stuff. And I still don't like he's just there all the time. They only pull him out to watch them, you know, rape a bystander. Just in the off chance that someone's car breaks down in front of the shop or whatever. Do they feed him? Does he have a house? Does he live at the shop?
He lives in that trunk. That's where he stays. Yeah.
And these are all questions that I don't want answers to. But on the road trip, unfortunately, I would have to get the answers because I'm his caretaker at that point, or I'm leaving him on the side of the road, and then
he
I'm
might
racked
see
with
it's
guilt.
a chance for him to kill you and get away. Finally, he can finally take
Yeah,
bondage.
I could be like I could be like Aladdin to his genie.
Yeah.
And let him out. But then it's like that's like when you have a rescue baboon or something like that, and it's like, well, he'll never be integrated into the wild because he's too socially, you know, he's used to humans. He's gonna get beat to death by the other baboons. You know, who knows what? Then I'll be guilty. Yeah. You know, so ultimately this trip is supposed to be fun, and that's none of that sounds fun to me with the gimp.
Well, the gimp is a damn good one.
I knew you would.
The only reason I like this one just a little bit better is only because the gimp is self-contained, so he could stay in the trunk in theory for a long time. My number one is Richie Gecko, played by Mr. Tarantino from Dusk Till Dawn. Richie is a violent and wildly unpredictable fucking psychopath. He has hallucinations where he thinks a young girl wants him to lick her pussy. He's a sexual predator. Red flag number one. He can't be trusted whether he's asleep or awake. Like, he starts a shootout in a liquor store because he thinks he sees something happen where most of the time I just think he just wanted to shoot the guy anyways. And God forbid, if we ever had to have a traffic stop, it has the potential to turn into a massacre. He is such a loose cannon. And that's with his brother trying to keep him at bay. I don't know how Richie and I have come into contact.
Yeah, you're right.
But I'm not his brother. And so it's going to end violently. One of us is going to, I will probably have to kill Richie before he can kill me. I may be one of those people who doesn't know that he's a sexual predator. You know, maybe, hey, can you give me a ride? You know, I know him for some offshoot thing. And we start driving across. And next thing I know, we stop at a diner or, you know, and we're hitting on girls and he's trying to kill, like rapes and kills them. It's like, now I'm an accessory to a murder. So now I got to kill this motherfucker, right? So, no, Richie is the biggest wild card. In my opinion, one of the most dangerous people because you can't control him. He hallucinates and he has no remorse. And because of that, I wouldn't get into a car with him for any amount of pesos. So Richie Gecko, and I mean the gimp, at least I could put him in the trunk. I can't put Richie in the trunk, you know? So Richie's a fucking wild card, and he can stay the fuck out of my car.
I was discussing this topic with the love of my life last night before bed. And he made her list of bottom three. So I'd like,
good. Yeah. So I mean, she's like, no, he's gonna rape me. Yeah, he's gonna rape me and kill me. Like in the first chance I see he gets to, I'm in trouble. Yeah.
That's a good pick. Great pick. Is that your number one?
That was my number one, Richie Gecko.
So, all right. So my number one worst person to go on a road trip with from the Quentin Tarantino universe Got to be the master himself, Pai Mei.
Oh, okay.
Nothing I could do would be good enough for him. He'd be criticizing how early I put my blinker on. He'd be criticizing how fast I go. He'd be criticizing when we stop for gas.
Pai Mei's just a nagging girlfriend.
He's just an old bitch is what he is.
Who could kill you with his fingertips.
Yeah, and then if I say the wrong thing, I'm always worried about my eye getting snatched out, you know? He's like, he didn't check over your shoulder. And snatches my eye out.
He's always throwing his beard.
Yeah, exactly.
You could have made that yellow light.
And if we rented a convertible, I'd never be able to put the convertible down because he'd be always concerned about his beard getting knotted. I find him such a fascinating character, and I love him a lot because he's I'm sure he's intentionally funny, but like there's an unintentional like comedic jilt to most of his character. That he's so over the top and he's a very like a caricature almost of a character. And when his heart softens, maybe his heart doesn't actually soften. Once he realizes that B is actually like the real deal, you see a different side of him and you kind of appreciate it or whatever. But I mean, he's a badass. But God, that first time, like I don't know how many days or weeks that she had with him before, like when he treated her like a dog, I'm like, that's gonna be me. I have no illusions that I will not be a good enough for Pai Mei. And 5 days being smacked with a stick in the back of my head for, I don't know, choosing the wrong, not making the yellow light or whatever. That's going to be miserable. No redeeming qualities about that. And I'm going to assume that I speak Japanese just like B did and not Chinese, or my Chinese is terrible. And he's going to criticize. We can have a language barrier, I think, there a little bit. It's not going to be fun.
I love that you turned Pai Mei, the most dangerous person in all of Tarantino, into a nagging girlfriend in the passenger seat. I think that's fantastic. And it works. It does. You go, actually kind of, I can see that. Yeah. I can see that.
He's been complaining about how uncomfortable the seat is. Yep. Can't get his seat right. I'd rather walk up those stairs 100 times with the water buckets on the side of the stick.
Well, Mr. Bay, thank you for another fantastic fucking discussion. Now, if you'd like to weigh in on this, please hit us up on either our socials or email us and let us know what 3 QT characters you'd most like to and least like to drive across country with. Those links can be found in the show description. And now it is time for our 2 for the road. As is customary on each episode, I like to close this show out by giving you, our viewers, 2 movie recommendations for you to check out. Mr. Abeyta, what is your movie recommendation for my viewers this week?
So I just watched this for the first time. In Sacramento, we have this place called the Red Museum. It's like an art loft space for creatives. And one of my buddies works with them and does a movie night there probably once a month. And it's free. You come inside, you bring your own beer, bring your own snacks or edibles or whatever. And we watch some bizarre movie. And it's on a projector, and it's a bunch of old decommissioned church pews lined up. It's just in a big warehouse. It's very fun. And we watched Redline from 2009, an animated racing movie. I'm pretty sure it's made by the same studio that did like Akira. If it's not them, there's maybe overlap with the producers or something like that. But it's the last movie that studio made before they went under. The concept is Redline is a race series that's like an intergalactic race series, and it takes place on various planets throughout the galaxy. When the organization decides that the Redline race is going to be on your planet, you have no say in it. You just go there, and it takes place in this story on this like hostile war planet. It's almost like, imagine the who are the bad guys from Dune that have that crazy like black and white planet?
Yeah, I know you mean. I'm trying to think of the name.
It's like that type of planet where it's just like everybody's evil, and it's like they've created weapons of mass destruction that the universe has never seen before, and there's a race going on through there, and all of these leaders of this planet are trying to stop the race and sabotage the race. And these cars that they build, it's the most bonkers. It's sensory overload, speed racer times 1,000. It's so fucking over the top. And if you watch it, it's on Tubi, Hoopla, and Canopy for free, or you can rent it for $4 on Prime. Turn the volume all the way up. If you're type of person to indulge, take an edible about 60 minutes before and have your brain exploded. And the last scene of the movie is about as perfect as you get as a finale for a movie. Some people hate it. When we watched it at the Red Museum, we're like, that's the end? Oh my God, that's fucking great. It was so stupid and perfect, and I loved it. It was a gem of a movie. It's called Redline from 2009.
Well, we have a very similar, synergetic type of recommendation. We both have picked something out of Asian cinema, You went with anime. I'm going with 2007 Mad Detective. Now, if you are a fan of Asian cinema and you haven't seen Mad Detective, you need to fucking fix that. Now, this is one of those movies where the premise alone sounds fucking insane. There's a detective who can literally see the different personalities inside people's heads. I'm not talking about metaphorically. He actually sees them standing next to that person. It sounds ridiculous, but the movie makes it work, and watching him piece together a missing cop case using the bizarre ability is pretty fucking fascinating. Now you throw in some great Hong Kong crime movie action, some shootouts, and some seriously bizarre character work, and you've got a movie that's constantly keeping you on your toes. One of the best parts is that it's only 90 minutes long and doesn't waste much time getting to the good shit. If you like crime movies that get progressively stranger, or movies where you finish and immediately want to go back and watch the whole thing again to see what you missed, Mad Detective is absolutely worth fucking watching. It's fucking bonkers, but in the way that makes you wish more American movies had the balls and were willing to get this weird. So do yourselves a favor and check out both of these kick-ass Asian cinema flicks. And that will do it for another episode of Talking Tarantino. Be sure to like and subscribe, then join us again next time for an all-new guest, fresh discussion topic, and more movie recommendations. You can also check out the Church of Tarantino podcast wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes drop bi-weekly. So for Pete Abeyta, I'm the Reverend Scott K. May Tarantino be with you always.